Next item will be resolution number 2020-0903, and that's introduced by Commissioner Kearns.
To the Honorable Rick Brewer, Chairman, and members of the Hawkins County Board of Commissioners in regular session met this 28th day of September 2020. The resolution in reference, approval of one-time hazardous pay due to COVID-19 for all employees of the Hawkins County General Fund, Solid Waste, and Highway Department. Whereas many Hawkins County offices had to be directly affected by the COVID-19 coronaviruses. Some offices had as many as 25% of their staff test positive, and other offices had to require all employees to be tested for their safety as well as the safety of the citizens they serve. Numerous employees have been required to quarantine awaiting tests while possibly exposing their families. And whereas there is a need to treat all Hawkins County General Fund, Solid Waste, and Highway Department employees equally and recognize their risk in day-to-day interactions with the citizens of this county. Recognizing that every employee working with the general public can be exposed at any time, even though they have taken extra precautions to limit exposure to this virus. And whereas, as the August 24, 2020 Commission meeting, Resolution 2020-08-12 was amended and passed to include a one-time hazardous pay of $1,000 for all full-time employees of the Hawkins County Sheriff's Department, and a one-time hazardous pay of $500 for all part-time employees of the Hawkins County Sheriff's Department to be paid from the Governor's Local Government Support Grant. Therefore be it resolved that employees of the Hawkins County General Fund, Solid Waste, and Highway Department that were employed during the dates of March 1, 2020 through July 31, 2020 receive a one-time hazardous pay bonus. All full-time employees will receive $1,000, and all part-time employees will receive $500 hazardous pay bonus to be paid in addition to their regular pay. The funding will come from the Governor's Local Government Support Grant, with any additional funding needed to come from the undesignated fund balance. This hazardous pay bonus has already been approved by the Hawkins County Sheriff's Department and will not be included again in this resolution. Mr. Chairman, I so move.
Motion by Commissioner Kearns, is there a second? Second by Commissioner Barker. Any discussion? Commissioner Thacker.
We discussed this last week in last month with the budget meeting, and I'm not sure on the amount that's going to have to come from undesignated fund balance. You know what you're making? No, sir.
91,000 or around.
Well, I had several figures. I had $69,857, and I had $86,123. So I wasn't sure which one it was, but I think
He said the total was 156, and 86 was the amount of the bonus, and the 69,877 was the amount of the retirement and all that they had tonight. And then 91,000 or 90, that may be 90, because I can't tell for sure. You got 91, okay, the undesignated fund balance is what would be.
Commissioner speaks.
During this time period, well, let me be more specific. During March, April, May timeframe, when a lot of businesses were forced closed, I noticed that county offices were also kind of closed to the public. And this question is for Nancy or Jim or anybody that can answer this. During that time, were your employees, did they stay fully staffed, and did they work a regular week even though the offices were closed?
You want me to answer? My office was closed. I had 4 employees test positive, and I got in contact with our local health department. I lined every other employee up. We all went and got tested as a precaution. We did temperature checks. We ended up having to close by direction of the regional health director in Johnson City we were told to close a total of 4 days. The, fourth day, there were several of us that came in and worked up all the mail, all the dealer work and all that kind of stuff. So my office was closed a total of 4 days.
But other than that, then the rest of the time, you were pretty much fully staffed unless they were.
We were fully, unless, well, those 4 had been quarantined for a full 2 weeks.
And,
And anytime any other employee, that it was recommended that they had to quarantine by a health professional, there's a new provision that by the Department of Labor that you have to give them 2 full weeks off.
so they were paid while they were off.
Yes, they were paid while we were off.
Commissioner Kern.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. One thing that I would like to add, I don't feel that anybody sitting in this room has not been affected somehow by this COVID. And I'm thinking that the biggest asset this county has is its employees. And I want to be very fair about it. And I think of a lot of the employees we're looking at certainly as secretaries. We do have a lot of men, but a lot of women working there. And I'm just looking at what they've had to go through and the problems it's created for them to have children in or out of school and make changes. So it has affected them greatly. And keep in mind that these people that I'm looking for this is taxpayers, homeowners, and they live right here among us. And all I am saying that I would urge this commission just to be fair and vote to do this. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Harrell.
Okay, I'm just trying to understand this. So we're giving $1,000 to full-time employees and $500 to part-time employees, correct?
Yes.
So when we add the Social Security and all that, they're actually getting more than $1,000. Now, well, I don't think it was amended that way for the sheriff's department either. I don't think, but.
You have to take the money out of benefits, there's no way around it.
Well, I mean, when I get a bonus where I work, I mean, they always took all the Social Security and all that out of the bonus. And so that's why I'm questioning, are we actually giving them 1,000, or are we actually giving them more than that?
I believe the intent was gross, not net.
Well, but payroll law says that, the county will cover their portion so if the county pays me $10, I'm gonna have a couple dollars taken out for tax, but the county's also gonna pay their portion of my payroll tax, so that will be included, that will be on top of this. If we give them $1,000, the county will, of course, have to pay payroll tax on that as well.
So the employees are actually paying taxes off of that $1,000 they're setting for a full-time
Well,
employee.
taxes will be withheld from it, but for their normal rate, I would assume is how our payroll systems are
Social
set up.
Security and federal taxes be coming out of that amount, not an additional charge to the
But the
county.
county's portion will be in addition to that.
No.
That's how payroll works. If the county pays me $1,000, a portion of that money, a portion of that is deducted, and I pay my part of the
That's not
taxes,
correct.
but the employer also pays employer portions.
That's not correct, I'm on green.
What, we can sit here and debate this all night long.
7%.
You know, I guess that needs to be left up to finance. So, but, whatever.
Well, I guess what I'm saying, if you're giving them more than $1,000, it needs to be stated that way. I mean, I agree with Hannah saying,
No, they're getting $1,000. Any tax that they have coming out of their paycheck is still their money. I mean, it's gross. I'm saying that in addition to the $1,000 per employee, an employer has a certain portion of payroll tax that they are also responsible for. Any of you that own businesses, that you all have to pay payroll tax Your portion,
That is correct.
Even though it's not with
it
company.
doesn't matter. I've paid bonuses to 30 companies throughout COVID, and we have to pay our portion of the payroll tax.
Hopefully still in that county, we're still.
Take that out of general fund,
If there's parameters to a grant, then you're correct, if not, then she's correct.
well, the part that would come out of the county after the COVID would be taxed like that, but not the COVID money.
This, they didn't give us the pay, they said do whatever you wanna do with it. We're saying we're gonna use it for some payroll, for some bonuses for payroll. The county has to cover a portion of payroll tax, no matter what you call it, or what money it comes out of. That's payroll tax. We are an employer. The county is an employer, and employers are responsible for portions of payroll tax.
We can sit here and debate this all night long, but we're gonna have to do the right thing about it. Whatever the financial officers make the audits right, that's the way that we're gonna have to do it, right?
Commissioner Shanks, speak, please. Yeah.
I just spoke to Eric. The county's portion is the 22,000 or whatever. The employer has to pay a portion, the employee has to pay a portion. It's the same bonus that the sheriff's
It
office
is
got.
correct, but
So,
the county.
in the end, they didn't account for that initially, I don't believe, when it passed the sheriff's office. And, because it happened so fast. It happened in a meeting. So, there was more expense involved, I think, than what we initially thought with the first resolution. He made sure he had it in for the second resolution. I just got off the phone with him. But when we discussed it in the budget meeting, that's what in committee, how he explained it. So, the county, the employees will not be clearing $1,000.
Correct.
So, it should be the same as what the sheriff's office got.
There's no special parameters because it's a grant, is what Ms. Speaks is saying is correct.
Commissioner DeWitt.
Just a point of information and backtracking just a little bit on Commissioner Speak's question. I just got a message from Jeff Thacker, and the property assessor's office stayed open completely during the whole thing.
Commissioner Alves.
My questions are been answered, Mr. Chairman, thank you.
Commissioner Edens.
So where we're at is if we pass this, everybody gets treated the same. Correct? Right. All right, we're good.
Commissioner Close.
I didn't press speak, but I will.
You're on the board.
I wasn't aware I pushed it. Here's the way I see it. This money is tax money from somebody. I pay a little bit of state tax, so it's tax money. And while the employees of this county done a great job, they didn't do any more than people working at Food City or Kmart or Walmart or anywhere else. And we have better use, and forgive me for saying that, for this money. We need, our education department needs money, our roads need money. In the last 2 or 3 weeks, I've traveled a great deal of the country roads, and some of them are getting impassable. And while I would like to vote for this to give people money, I'm gonna vote no, because I think the county got better use for the money, in my opinion. And you can excoriate me for saying that, but that's my opinion, that's what I'm gonna vote. I was gonna sit here and not say anything, but you called on me, so.
I'll write in everything you do, I think.
Okay.
They want to acknowledge me.
Commissioner Speaks.
I just want to say on the sheriff's department that I amended and ultimately passed during the last commission meeting. The reason that I think that maybe my intent was not clear. I amended that for them to get that bonus simply because we could not afford a pay raise for them that then becomes maintenance of effort. We can't afford that. However, this was an opportunity to pump some money into the sheriff's department to help with employee retention. Yes, it is coming from a COVID-19 funds that come from the state. that didn't say they had to be used for COVID employees or anything like that. I simply used that opportunity to pump some money into the sheriff's department to hopefully get him back on track with employee retention and to get those employees more in line with our surrounding counties so that we don't continue to lose them after we've paid so much money to train them. So I do want to say that that was my intent. And as far as, you know, is it fair? Well, life just isn't fair. And I'm going to agree with Commissioner Klontz on what he said, and that we have some other areas to spend the money. And as you're aware, I know with your daughter, teachers are also jumping through hoops and facing battles they've never seen before. And not only did they not get a pay raise, but they are also, they don't get anything like this either. So I don't think that we sit back and say, well, we're being fair to county employees when, and I realize that their salaries are not part of our general fund and maybe not something that we can control as strategically as this, but I don't think that well, let's just be fair is a very good argument.
May I speak? I have pushed my button, it doesn't work. I think it worked for Mr. Crum.
I think you're on the board to speak.
Am I on the board now?
And to
After Harrell.
Just let me know.
Mr. Hurrell.
I think this gentleman right back here is wanting to speak,
I've been with the highway department 30 years, and during this COVID outbreak, I was a mechanic. I worked in that shop 2 stinking weeks by myself, and I kept everything in there going. And I would like to have a little more respect than the other guys. They carried their fire shower, but I think the highway department needs a little more support.
Commissioner Trent.
I canvassed some office holders about their employees and did they lose any money during this time? I was told emphatically, no, that their offices were open and they were all paid. Now this is a personal issue. I had 2 jobs, part-time jobs before this happened. I had to give up both of them because I'm high risk. I'm sitting here tonight, elbow to elbow with you people, because it's about the only choice. Now, I don't understand when I'm told by the county officers, we didn't have any people that lost any income. We were at work every day. Our offices were open. I don't want any sympathy or empathy for me because I had to give up my jobs, but nobody's given me a bonus. Now, if we wanted to, we could say, okay, we're all county employees. We're allowed to buy county insurance. They count us as county employees. We're allowed to contribute to the Tennessee Consolidated Retirement System because we're considered county employees. It would be ludicrous for any of us to even think about accepting $1,000. Would it not? Do y'all not think that would be ridiculous? Absolutely. Now, if they haven't lost any income, why are we doing this? This money was not to be a bonus. It was to help out in areas that are needed. That's all.
Mr. Thacker.
I just wanted to say that, you know, I didn't vote for the one for the sheriff. But I do live in a rural area, and I feel like Mr. Klontz, I've got a lot of roads that need repairs and other things. I really don't like taking this portion of money out of undesignated fund balance either. So, you know, I can't vote for it. I don't have it. I'd like to vote for it, but my conscience won't let me.
You will be recognized, Commissioner Thomas.
Yeah, I'll just say I did vote for the sheriff's department to receive the bonus because they're first responders and they're out there working with the worst of the worst in this county. That's the reason I voted for it.
Well, next time a tree falls or when it snows, you'll be crying for the Hawkins County Highway Department.
Commissioner Kern, you have the floor.
Mr. Chairman, at this time, I'm going to pull that resolution.
Now, he can pull it, pull the vote.
Mr. Kern asked to pull his resolution. I guess we move on. I'd like to make a comment since we're not voting on that, and I'm not being persuasive for anybody to vote. I see it a little different than some people does. You know, I believe in treating everybody alike. And what we're saying is some of our employees are more important than other employees if we don't give everybody a bonus. Now, that's the way that I look at it. I mean, I might be wrong, but that's Rick Brewer's opinion, okay? But Mr. Kern has pulled this resolution, and we'll move on.